program was recorded at RILA's annual logistics conference in Orlando, Florida. I'm pleased to welcome Editor-in-Chief of Supply Chain Brain, Russell Goodman.
Logistics in the retail supply chain. Here to speak with us today about that is Casey Chroust, Executive Vice President, Retail Operations of the Retail Industry Leaders Association. Welcome, Casey.
Thanks, great to be here, and great to have our guests here as well.
Casey, I'd like to talk to you about Logistics 2010, but first let me start out by saying congratulations. I understand this is a record-breaking attendance this year.
Thank you. We are incredibly pleased with the attendance we've had. We have blown away our previous 2 years, and 2008 was our last record-breaking year, and we far surpassed that number in terms of retail executives who are in attendance.
Now talk to us about RILA. What is it and how is it engaging the supply chain?
Well, RILA is the leading trade association for the retail industry. We try to promote operational issues, benchmarking, research, educational topics, networking, as well as the most current news and events. And on the other side, we also have government affairs and regulatory issues. And really, the combination of those two is a strength for RILA, not only individually, but the combination of the two of them. And what we really try to do is work with our retailers at the executive levels on both of those fronts. We'll engage them on government affairs issues, and we'll also engage them on operational issues. And whatever functional area we're trying to tackle, in this case, supply chain, we'll bring them to bear. We'll bring these top retailers together. We'll have them work together, communicate, really discuss the issue to where we can see what our position should be, how we should go forward, how we can help each other, whether that even be benchmarking. And then we really move forward based on those agreements and those discussions.
Casey, in your estimation, what are some of the issues in the supply chain industry as it relates to the retail industry?
Our retailers today are still very much focused on cost reductions, cost takeout, as well as tight inventory management and tighter inventory controls. Throughout the holiday shopping season, our retailers definitely decided to err on the side of caution and took conservative positions with their inventory. I really think as we start to emerge out of this season and into 2010, there is starting to come to the surface some strong optimism, and strong might be a little too big of a word, but some optimism around how the rest of this year is going to shape out. So I really start to see retailers begin to shift from cost reduction thinking to strategic initiatives and planning for the future. Now, retailers are always going to try to take out costs. That's what we focus on. That's what we do best. It's that planning cycle that does become unique and is the focus, right? So much of our retailers have steered away from capital-intensive type of projects. Now, I really see, again, in 2010 specifically, that they do start to bring these back onto the table and really start to evaluate the viability of these capital projects and really start to try to get them lined up so that when the economy does really shift and improve, which we're hoping at the end of 2010, that they can start to pull the trigger on these projects and really, bring them into an actual state.
Well, let's talk about some specific issues. What about product safety? How is that playing now in the retail industry?
Product safety is an incredibly important issue for retailers. Not only does it have large financial ramifications, but it has a huge brand implication. And nothing is more important to a retailer than its brand. They use marketing, customer experience, store experience, everything focuses around managing that brand. And unfortunately, product safety, if not handled properly, can really tarnish and damage your brand. So it has very much so large consequences for our retailers. And we take our customer safety very seriously. And in accordance with that, our retailers really have shifted into a continual mindset around product safety. If you look back in 2007, we started to have a series of high-profile media incidents that really kind of put retail and manufacturers under the spotlight. Congress, the CPSC acted in kind, really started to bring in some new regulations. The culmination of that first round was the CPSIA, the Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act, which really put a lot of additional burdens onto manufacturers and retailers. Of course, we as retailers want to stay within the letter of the law, so we have made sure that we've met every single one of those regulations, and in most cases, retailers are already doing them. It's just a matter of trying to get some of the paperwork pulled together to where it can be reported to the government. But again, without a doubt, retailers have really increased their process improvement activities, their focus around ensuring that product safety does maintain the quality that it is today.
Another major issue in retail, of course, is sustainability. Talk to us about that.
The green movement not only is sweeping, but has swept through the business industry, and that includes retailers. They really have been very quick to understand the benefits that are there. That triple bottom line, that win-win-win. Essentially, that is not only can I do something that's good for the environment, that's good for my customers, but it's good for me as a business entity, and being able to, in most cases, reduce costs. I would say, though, the first round has really been a lot of that low-hanging fruit. There's been a number of initiatives that if you get in there, you start looking around, you get teams of people focused on it, really trying to explore the opportunities that are there. Good things will happen. They have been able to find a number of again, that low-hanging fruit, those easy initiatives that they identified and have implemented. And I think most retailers in a state now where they have accomplished that phase one objective of that low-hanging fruit. Really now is the phase two. And it's not only looking at their suppliers, but it's also starting to look at even their suppliers' and going further upstream. And it is really taking that holistic view where the value really adds. Take recycling. We could talk about recycling properly and reducing waste. Well, the best way to do it isn't trying to figure out what you do after the waste is in your hands and it's going into a trash can. Let's go up and re-engineer the product and hit it at the very initial point and reduce and engineer our way out of the problem entirely. And our retailers have really taken that approach to look at a holistic view of these sustainability issues, not only in their stores, but all the way up their supply chain. And that includes green store design, it includes supply chain, transportation efficiency, it includes energy efficiency within DCs, it includes the product itself and trying to reduce packaging, to really focus on the ingredients in the product to have a positive environmental benefit. So really, again, we've made so much progress to date. I think the important thing now is taking that next step and really trying to get where we have to go for the long term.
Casey, final question. I know in the retail industry there's a lot of interest in the private label relationships between the retailers and the suppliers. Talk to us about that in terms of logistics.
Without a doubt, private label has been a large growing segment of retailers' merchandise assortments that are out there. And obviously it's for the margin benefits that can come from having your own brand. The strategy they've gone about, though, is you have to first of all have quality product. It's got to be a good product in order to sell. Now, the brands spend millions and tens of millions of dollars on creating awareness, loyalty to that brand. So the objective isn't trying to displace that brand. I think a lot of retailers' views has been to complement those national brands. It's not trying to be the number one SKU. It's like, hey, there's the number one, number two national brands. We're going to try to create that number three. I don't need maybe 6 SKUs. I'll try to get away with 3, and we'll have 2 of them be national, and that third one can be a private label brand. And I'm going to do the best I can to make that private label brand compete with a national brand. And I want to do that because I've got to do that to ensure that I have quality in the process. And to complement the national brands, that has to be there. And I think it's good for the suppliers, it keeps them on their toes, keeps them innovating, keeps them trying to drive customers to buy those. And it's good for our retailers because we have to produce quality products to also to complement that. And of course, the challenges on the supply chain side that result and are inherent within are, we tend to, on those private label brands, have to control them further upstream. You're not buying them from a supplier here stateside. You are often sending the designs over, it's being manufactured, and you're picking it up at that factory door, and you have to control the export from that country as well as the import into this country, and all of the compliance activities, the regulations that have to be followed, the additional processes that have to be managed to pull that off. The burden goes up, and the complexities go up, and what it takes to pull it off goes up. But again, for the retailer, what sits at the end of that rainbow is that pot of gold, which is more product gross margin that you can have through having that lower cost of goods upstream from manufacturing your own private label product. So I really see that's how the strategy of brand it has kind of evolved to date, and I see it continuing to evolve there as retailers continue to rationalize SKUs and try to make some of these trade-offs and answer some of these questions, and I see that's how they kind of complement each other.
Casey, that's valuable insight into the retail industry. Thanks for meeting with us today.
Gladly, thank you very much.
Casey Chroust, Retail Industry Leaders Association, speaking with us today about logistics in the retail supply chain. Thanks for watching.